Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Rugby Matrix America, our podcast that you can see and hear, or just hear if you just want to do the audio. We this time around, we are talking to Crusaders Global Academy. Canterbury Crusaders, the most successful, along with, say, Leinster, the most successful professional rugby organization in the world. Certainly the most successful team in Super Rugby, growing their brand a little bit, putting their name out there to help people learn to play. And they've got the Crusaders Global Academy is what they've launched to do that. And Grant Keenan is touring the United States. The USA is a big target for the Crusaders Global Academy. And we talked to Grant Keenan. He was at the US Naval Academy, talking to the Naval Academy women, working with them. So we got a little bit of video of the stuff that they're doing. We'll talk to Grant and talk to Navy head coach Murph McCarthy about that. Before we get to that, thank you to those supporting this podcast, including you supporters like you. Go to goffrugbyreport.com/support-GRR. You can support what we do here. Also, Next Phase Rugby. You want to recruit players to your college rugby team? Are you a high school player who wants to be recruited? The answer is the Next Phase Rugby app. Go to nextphaserugby.com. Panther Rugby Academy, offering elite playing opportunities around the country, and they go overseas as well. You want to expand yourself. Let's say you're playing on a team that doesn't win a lot of games, but you're a pretty good rugby player. Contact Panther Rugby Academy, and they will get you going to play at an elite level. At the same time, grassroots rugby, super important. There are a lot of you who would like to support grassroots rugby. You want to support new youth programs or new teams that are getting started. You want to help elite players find special opportunities or scholarships. You want to do all these things. You don't know exactly how can you do it. US Rugby Foundation does that already. They just need your help. They just need your support. And finally, Irish Rugby Tours. Rugby's all about, it's a global game. Let's go overseas. Let's go tour. Let's have some fun. Irish Rugby Tours understands that you want to have some fun, understands that you want to do more than just rugby. Go visit historical sites, cultural sites, and a little bit of rugby training. Immerse yourself in a rugby culture. Play some games. Get the right kind of games that are competitive for you. They do all of that. They take great care in doing that, and they do it for you. And they're working very, very closely with you. IrishRugbyTours.com. That's the way to celebrate the global game. All right, now on to our interview with Grant Keenan and Murph McCarthy. And thanks a lot for your support.
All right, everybody. Well, we are here with Murph McCarthy from the U.S. Naval Academy women's team and Grant Keenan from Crusaders Global Academy, doing some work there at Navy. So first of all, it's great to have some time with you guys. Murph, what were you hoping to get out of getting Grant in there and doing the work that you're doing?
I've known Grant for a couple of years. I actually was one of the guys that went back to the mothership there at Rugby Park a couple of years ago. So that's where I kind of got my immersion. I learned all about what they do and what's important to them and how they operate. And basically kind of fell in love with it. And then when they presented this opportunity, I was all about it. We actually did it last year. And this year, I was trying to bring it into my preseason, but the scheduling, a couple other things didn't work out. But here we are going into our third game. And Grunt was available to come out. And so we've had 2 sessions already. We've done a bunch of chalk talking, that type of stuff. It's the quickest way I like to summarize it is like it's another voice.
Yeah.
Somebody knows a little bit about rugby, comes from an organization that's slightly successful, and it's sometimes it doesn't seem like it's working, as in like it's not really work. And that's kind of what this is. It's fun. It's seeing the details. You see stuff every day. So when somebody else comes in and has like a fresh perspective on it, it's neat. And a lot of times you don't get that when you're just with your regular staff.
Grant, I'm interested in this. Look, obviously there's like a bit of Crusaders growing the Crusaders brand. There's that kind of like almost corporate sports feel to it. But I feel like there's more to it than that. I mean, I think there's more to, maybe it's just a rugby community thing. But tell me about the motivation to come to America, to go on a tour around America and run these sessions with some player, you don't know necessarily the skill level of these players to like read it immediately and then say, okay, we're going to work on this.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, and just firstly, thanks for having us on here. Really appreciate it, and you're certainly a legend in these circles. So thank you for your time. For us, Alex, the Crusaders are very close to the community, and you probably hear that and see that in a lot of different environments. But we do live and breathe that, because without the community, you don't have the support, you don't have the followers, you don't have the fans, they're not buying your merchandise, and so forth. So very close to the community for us, and we obviously love to give back to the game, because you want the game to grow. And Wayne Smithy, who's a former Crusader coach and All Black coach, would always talk about, you've got to keep giving, you've got to keep sharing, you've got to keep giving back, and because by you doing that, that forces you to be better. And I think that's an area that we look at, especially in the Crusaders Global Academy. We've been coming up here to the States for probably since about 2018. Obviously, there's a little bit of time around COVID, which there was no travel. But we're coming up here to grow players, improve their skill set, improve their rugby IQ. But probably more importantly is growing the coaches, and I feel, and we feel, that the biggest area that we can really add to the game in the States is growing the coaches, because that if you grow the coaches, you're going to make the players better. And Murph's really receptive with us coming in. We came in here last year. We're lucky to be back here in this outstanding facility, to come back again, and it's just great to see players taking new stuff on board and a new voice. And I think probably the other thing, mate, is it probably reaffirms that what Murph's doing is correct. And it just, when it comes from another voice, they sort of takes them a wee while, but then they sort of get it. Well, Murph's already doing that, so we must be on the right track. So that's really critical and vital for our tours here.
Street cred.
Yeah, street cred. But Murph, you have to sort of pull yourself back instead of yelling, "I've told you that 5 or 6, 700 times." The other thing, though, the rugby brotherhood, sisterhood is so strong. You guys know each other, again, the experience there, and then just to say, hey, come on, and mate, let's just help me out. And yeah, sure, I'll help you out. I think that leaks over into the players, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely it does. And even last night, right, Abby, she is obviously a USA rugby player, former USA rugby player, Olympian, right. And we just got started talking. And rugby's such a small world, and I've been a former Black Ferns coach, and we actually played against the US in the semi-final of the World Cup in 2017, and she played in that game. So then all of a sudden, we started talking about that brotherhood, that rugby connection. And, I hadn't met her before, and she hadn't met me, obviously. And then all of a sudden we just got talking about stuff, and things grew. And then we talked about coaching and the areas that she's looking to grow. And so all of a sudden we created a really nice connection. I think the brotherhood, or the connection side of it, is hugely important. And
that's really interesting with Abby Castadas, right? A terrific rugby player, very knowledgeable, but still the coaching piece. She wants to get into coaching. You have to learn to still at an elite player level.
That's right.
I feel like very often an elite player will say, look, all you have to do is do this thing. And it's like, most of us normal people can't do that, right? So you have to teach them to be coaches.
Definitely. And there's so many players like that in New Zealand who have been outstanding rugby players, and when they're coaching, they can't quite understand why the player can't do what they did, and it's simply because they were just another level. But as you know, coaching is you don't have to be a great player to be a great coach. And I think now it's getting understand these new athletes, these new young people that are coming through. How can we connect with them early and quickly to get the best out of them? Because the challenge these young players have is they do everything off TikTok or Instagram, and they want to see that 30-second hit, the try scored. However, it's the momentum that's led up to the try. What happened 5 minutes or 10 minutes before that led to that. So I think the challenge we have in the game is getting these young players to actually watch full games, not just watch the highlights. And it's obviously it happens here in America, but it certainly happens in New Zealand as well. So we've got to be really careful. We keep upskilling and making sure these young players are watching more footage of full games as opposed to those, highlights.
Yeah, you don't have to be a very good player to be a good coach. So that brings me back to Murph. And Murph, here you've gone into the NIRA sphere. It's a little bit different environment, the daily training environment that every team you play has. What has been the challenges that maybe that Grant can help you with? What have been the challenges to get up to that level? Really good start to this season. So yeah.
Well, it's we did some things that we knew we wanted to work on the first day.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I want you to talk to the girls about this, and I'm thinking this drill. And then it was neat. We went back to a drill that he introduced last year. I'm like, you only have to explain that one for about 2 minutes because I've been making him do it since he left. But it was good to go back through it and the whole deal. And then yesterday we're like, all right, we're going to pretty much run a practice like we normally run it. And basically I want you to poke holes in it. So, tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you tweak. And, for a lot of people, that's kind of hard. It's like, this is mine. I don't want anybody to mess with it. But, if you want to get better at something, you got to keep learning, and you got to make yourself vulnerable to criticism, and ask for help. And I know this guy, and I know he knows what he's doing. So and I trust that he won't hurt my feelings either. That's the other great thing about Cronta. So that's what we did yesterday, and it was really effective. I got like a page and a half of notes that stemmed from the debrief of yesterday's training. And most of it's good stuff. Some of it was like, because he was here a year ago. He's like, yeah, there's a couple girls that I don't recognize, and it's not just because they've been lifting weights for a year, but like they can move the ball now, and they're like catching kicks and making people miss. Where a year ago I was like, how long are they going to be here? Yeah. So all around, it's been good, and it's like kind of what we hoped for. And myself and Threaten Palama, who's now my assistant here, he's had a blast with it as well. Because he likes to ask questions. He likes the rugby dialogue. And, he's a pretty smart fella himself, so he's had a bunch of questions for Grant. It's been great.
Great to have Threaten in there. That's awesome. So Grant, you're going on. You're touring the nation. You've got a lot of places you're going. In your experience, do you find yourself doing fairly similar things and working on fairly similar things, or is it a completely different type of approach or area of focus, different places that you go?
Yeah, it's a very similar focus to every program I go into. Mm-hmm. It just comes down to the level of detail you provide based on the audience that's in front of you. So, for example, coming to Navy, I was here last year. I'm able to probably add a little bit more detail in there because there's a high percentage of girls that were here last year that understand it, and they're intelligent girls. Jeepers, they pick things up really, really quickly, without doubt. So you're able to put a little bit more into them. I may go to another program where I probably can't put as much detail in, and maybe just strip it back just so that it meets to the players' needs that are in front of you. And I think that's really important. I think as a coach, we talk about reading the room, where you've got to read what's in front of you and make sure that you're able to deliver the right messages to them, because you can look around and the attention span can go quickly if you haven't captured them or you're going too far ahead. So that part of it's really important. And I guess at the end of the day, Alex, that's coaching, isn't it? That's the art of coaching, is knowing who and what's in front of you.
Yeah, excellent. What are some of the specific things that they're always a go-to that people need to, and we talk about whether it's catch pass or it might be groundwork, it might be just sort of, some of those basic things that you think that ultimately every player has to be proficient in or reach a certain level of proficiency in?
Yeah, very big around the skill set, around the catch pass. From the environment that we have within the Crusaders, we only had to look at this year. I think it was about round 6 or round 7 of Super Rugby, where speaking to the coaching team, they're really, really happy with, from an attack perspective, around the structure that we had in place, the starters that we had in place. So what they focused on from about round 7 right through to the final was just around skill set, just stripping everything back and going, well, our structure's right, but how better can we be at our skill set? How early can we catch the pass? How more accurate can our pass out the back be? And it all came to that minor detail. And I think that part of it is really crucial, is ensuring that the skill set that you're delivering is, the details there and it's at 100%. Alex, one thing I do try and do here in the game, and pretty much through everywhere when I go, is probably the speed of the game, to be honest. I just feel, and having been involved with the Eagles in 23 with Scott Lawrence, what I see is the game needs to be quicker, and that's the players just getting up off their feet, getting into play, whether it's on defence, whether it's on attack, getting on their feet quicker. So the girls last night run a really good drill, just a nice simple drill, just rolling, jumping, getting to their feet quickly. So that's an area I do try and really, really drive at all trainings, is getting to their feet quicker and being able to play.
Yeah, you see those situations where the ruck is won, the ball's available, the scrum half is there, he or she is ready to go, no one else is ready. So 1 second, 2 seconds, right? The time.
You weren't at our training last night watching, were you?
Speaking of confidence, Murph, and Grant, you can speak to this too. Crucial is the follow-up, not just have a session, but take some of those activities and continue to do those activities. You followed up, and then players are doing those activities with more confidence, build confidence through the season, come back this fall. I think they're playing with more confidence. They're maybe practicing with more confidence. Tell me about that.
Oh, for sure. And, the unique thing about Navy is, a preponderance of our players, and we'll call it 90%, will be safe. First time they touched a rugby ball is when they showed up here. So there's a lot of learning in the beginning, and the learning curve is steep. But you got to be the teacher. You got to show them stuff, and you got to throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But I think the reps, the experience, because most of these girls have been good at most of the things they've tried since they were little. And this has been a little bit of humble pie. So as they get more and more confident, you can see it on Saturday. And for some of them, it's like week to week. Yeah. You'll see somebody in week 3, and in week 4, they'll be like, "Who was that?" Yeah. You played last week too. She just figured it out this week. Okay. So that part is awesome. And the follow up with them is the same as like the follow up with my stuff. I got to keep going back to the well and thinking about what we want to do moving forward and what to do to get us there.
Right, awesome. Grant, what are you looking forward to with the rest of the tour, going around the country? What's special about being in America to do this?
It's just coming to really good professional programs, like coming here to Navy with Murph. I know the program is well run. I know the sessions are well organised. After this, I'm going to be heading to Arkansas State next week. Dominic Shaw, the coach there, who came down to our course in 2025, in May 2025, he'll be well organised. The players are well receptive. I'll head to see Rich Ashfield at Stanford and looking at both the men and women's programs there. Again, I know that the sessions will be well organised. The players are well receptive. So I'm really looking forward to going there, because not just that, but the coaches are really good people. And the key is to keep that connection going. And it's an area that we're always trying to get better. Murph and I speak regularly during the year. We talk a lot about the trainings. We talk a lot about the games, the challenges, and that's the key. And that's one of the main reasons we want to come here, is we want to find partners that we can work with, that we can provide our expertise, and then in turn we get to come to the Navy here. What a great environment to see just how another operation runs. And, in rugby, organisations are very similar to businesses, and, you've got to make sure you've got really good people running the ship.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you you both taking the time and making the effort. And best of luck, Grant, on your travels, and Murph, best of luck the rest of the season.
You bet. That was fun, Alex. Nice work.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks
great.
for your time.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for the latest edition of the podcast. Thanks again to Next Phase Rugby, the US Rugby Foundation, and Irish Rugby Tour for supporting this. And also, you can go to golfrugbyreport.com to get all the latest news and see what I have to write about. And you can support Rugby Matrix America and golfrugbyreport.com by going to golfrugbyreport.com/support-GRR and find out how you can be a patron of both outlets. Music by Ben Sounds. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.